Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to the penultimate race of our F1 2004 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend here at the Circuit of the Americas for the US Grand Prix. Now, obviously, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, we've done it. We've wrapped up our third World Championship inside this game. Although not technically, according to F1 2004. We've got a 50-point lead. There's 2 races to go. Technically, there's 52 points available, but I don't think I've ever seen the race winner claim the fastest lap bonus point because it's a little bit glitched inside this game. But yeah, what a season it has been. Of course, Michael Schumacher not helped by those back-to-back DNFs out in France and Austria. But yeah, we returned to winning ways. Just our 4th victory of the season. The wins have really been spread out, actually. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different drivers have won a race so far this year. We're just waiting for David Coulthard to finally get one on the board as well. But yeah, obviously a massive thank you to everybody for their continued support on this series as well up to this point. Of course, I want to finish off these last 2 races in style, but both of them are going to be last to question mark challenges because A, it's just a bit of fun, and B, it's kind of obviously gives us a good chance to take a look at some different machines as well this series. So yeah, I guess let's return then here to the US Grand Prix. Of course, this was a site of great disappointment for us a couple of years ago, but for now, we can just go out there and enjoy ourselves. Make sure you hit that sub button. We're trying to hit 150k. Hit join as well if you want early access to all these videos. But yeah, let's do this thing.
Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Raikkonen delighted the world by winning for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what, I wonder, is in store for us today? It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside the great city of Austin. This is the 3.6 mile lap with 20 corners, 10 each to the left and to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. They're starting towards the back of the field today and the car that is fast. So they'll be disappointed, won't they?
It's not a nice feeling, I promise you. They've got a quick car underneath them, but they've got onto the grid today and they need a pair of binoculars to see the start lights. They'll be desperate for a good start to make up for some of that deficit.
Well, I joked that we need David Coulthard to become our 9th different winner of the year, and immediately he's taken pole position. McLaren, at least over 1 lap pace, look to be the team to beat this weekend, but we will wait and see as to what happens here. I think, as always, we'll probably opt to go with a harder tyre early on, and then finish, obviously, on the faster race tyre as well. Worked for us at Suzuka, worked for us back at Monza, so I'm going to keep trying to do that towards the end of the year. Plenty of spare fuel, though, in the wagon, because we're going to want to use it throughout the Grand Prix today. But from the back of the field, where can we finish? Waiting on the grid then for the 5 red lights here at the US Grand Prix. It is the lights out, and away we go there, and whoa! Despite starting at the back of the field, we still can't get a good launch on the run in towards turn 1. I guess we'll get to watch everybody else making their way up in towards that first corner. We'll wait and see if there's any chaos and carnage. Just in front of me is Alex Wirtz there, getting shuffled to the back of the pack. And immediately then we will try and make a little bit of progress early on there. Got to be super, super careful though. Early on is almost running into the back of Marc Genet. As you can just see there, everybody concertinaing up through these first couple of corners. I don't want to go too aggressive too early because it is a long race. And I want to obviously try and get a good result there as well. Wirtz, again, immediately trying to consider having a look back at the inside, but won't find the grip there. As we get up towards the top of the circuit to the inside of Genet, we will go. Just trim the apex there down at the bottom of the circuit. We should be able to get the power down off of the corner. And, well, this has certainly been the area where kind of car pace is dictated so far this season. Does seem to be the straight line speed there. As Timo Glock trying to go defensive. Whoa, in towards that next corner. A little bit of wheel banging between myself and the Jordan. But we will get down the inside at the very next corner, and we will move up then into P17. So 3 places gained so far on this opening lap. I remember last season here, we had a great battle with Michael Schumacher, which of course involved some contact very late on in the day. But that was obviously whilst we were trying to win another world championship there. Justin Wilson a little bit slow through the final couple of corners. It's not often you go wheel to wheel through there, but we've made it work as Raikkonen then has taken the lead off of his teammate by the end of lap 1. Let's not forget, McLaren have not won since Spain. That's how long their drought has been this season. Well, it hasn't taken us long yet before we're all over the back of Mark Webber through these next few corners. And I mean, again, we've just got so much more downforce, so much more confidence than a lot of these guys down the inside of the Australian will go. And as we try and get these tyres up to temperature, then we're even trying to look to attack against Jarno Trulli as well then. But I don't think Giancarlo Fisichella had a particularly good qualifying. Had I thought about it, I probably should have, gone for the Constructors or helped the team out in the Constructors' Championship. As Baumgartner, that's quite a surprise to see him going backwards early on in this race. So I don't know if he had grid penalties or whether BAR are really just struggling a bit more than we expected around this circuit. But Jarno Trulli there trying to be very aggressive, as we will have to go down the inside of both him and Mika Salo. Don't know if there was contact. Yep, there was definitely contact with Salo, but we got the car in front. We did get it slowed down in a controlled manner. But Baumgartner then still stuck up behind Olivier Panis through these final couple of corners. Yeah, it's been a really tough year for him. Of course, claimed his first Formula 1 victory, which was obviously absolutely brilliant to see, but has often had to play second fiddle to his teammate Anthony Davidson throughout most of the campaign, as Panis now trying to go defensive up at turn 1 against him, as I will completely outbrake myself there, trying to get back over to the racing line. Will we get the run down the hill though? I mean, look how slow the Hungarian is. At BAR, we know it's very good in a straight line, but often struggles a bit more through the twisty bits. But clearly now starting to find some composure is Baumgartner here, as just trying to balance the car over the curbs. Would have been interesting to see how this era of Formula 1 machines would have attacked this circuit there as around the outside. I mean, track limits would have been fascinating, wouldn't it? And look at that, Olivier Panis actually helping me out as we go 3 wide down the hill. Will we be able to get the power down on the exit? Luckily, Zolt gives me some room around the outside. And we will be up through then and into P11. Very, very good progress made early on, but there you go. There's that BAR straight line speed once again. Baumgartner back down the inside, but we will return the favour into the next corner. Get it slowed down there, as I think Zolt completely outbroke himself. Even Olivier Panis making the move happen. Here we are then, closing in on Giancarlo Fisichella by the time we get down at the hairpin on the very next lap. I mean, we are making good progress early on, but looks like Jaguar and Renault have made a bit of progress as well late on this season. Both of those teams looking a bit more competitive here. Or maybe it's just Fisichella and Baumgartner struggling a lot more than we've come to expect. There is all a bit of a lock-up there from Jenson Button, from wheel to wheel, with obviously what would technically be his future teammate, I guess. Who, obviously, I'm sure those two, no idea what they were to expect in the future. But down the inside of the pair of them in one go. Barrichello spots it though, and immediately we're trying to have a look back past us. We'll have the inside line though, as we make our way up in towards the final few corners, and we will inherit 8th. Well, there we go then. We have made light work early on. I mean, listen to that. Yeah, second a lap quicker than Juan Pablo Montoya, and I'm going to waste no time trying to get down the inside of the Colombian. Of course, if something were to happen today, which I'm hoping it doesn't. Like I say, it is not the end of the world, but yeah, moving on up then. We just keep gaining places early on in this race. I mean, yeah, it's just really odd, isn't it? I mean, it has been fascinating just how many different teams we've seen be the dominant force this season. But yeah, Toyota last weekend and this one, I think we've got the car to beat. But I don't really know if at the front of the order McLaren have been able to scamper away from everybody else still, or whether I think it's Michael Schumacher, probably their biggest threat. It's got to be Alonso, Schumacher, yeah, the two McLarens inside the top 4 at the moment. And well, Fernando Alonso, he really does need a good run late on this season. But I'm pretty certain, yeah, this is Ralph just in front of me. I know I mentioned it all season long, but I was so scared of breaking the mod by trying to change the two Schumachers' names so that I could differentiate them a little bit easier. So I've just had to use their helmets throughout the course of the campaign as just see how much grit we've got through this section of the lap. Is that Ralph? Is that Michael? I can't honestly tell at the moment. It's Kimi Räikkönen, another new fast lap of the day, so clearly he's got speed. No, that's Michael. Okay then, so Michael Schumacher really, really struggling early on in this race. We will get down the inside of that final corner as the team already recommending a new strap. They are happy with the tyre wear so far. As I don't want to be tweaking the setup angle. That was bad. A bit of a miscommunication with my MFD there. Just changing the wing angle rather than changing down the gears and everything like that. So Michael will quite happily move back through. Of course, obviously, I know we already said we won the championship, but technically Schumacher, like I said, could win it with wins with fastest laps. At the moment, doesn't even look like he's going to win today. Here we go, bit of nostalgia fuel. Down the inside of Schumacher will go. And again, just like last year, pretty much got the whole car in front, and he still tries to turn in on me. Team there happy with the move though, but I'm sure Michael Schumacher, again, not too happy about that, but say we cannot afford to sit behind him all day as Räikkönen now really beginning to stretch his legs up at the front of the order as Anthony Davidson, huge wobble there through the final corner, maybe feeling the pressure, and we will say thank you very much again then. All of these moves seemingly lining up for us early on in this race as Davidson has the power in a straight line, but we will be down the inside at turn 1. I mean, what's he trying to do? That's another thing why I'm probably, going to take a break from this series. The AI, you're comfortably there alongside, and they still just drive like you're not even there. Well, we've closed up then to the back of Fernando Alonso, but of course, the further up the order you get, the more difficult it is to try and take time out of these other cars there. But whenever we're in clear air, new fastest laps seem to be coming thick and fast. I don't know what the gap is between Räikkönen and Coulthard. I can only assume, that Kimi is building up a fairly sizable lead, as again, seems to be my favourite place to make overtakes today. Alonso, though, actually, a lot smarter with it, as I get very, very loose on the exit. But Alonso doesn't think it's worth the fight, just focusing on his own race and his own championship. And we will power through then up into 4th spot. Oh, so there we go. Ralf Schumacher then, first car into the pit lane. Hoping more of the AI are on a one-stop strategy today. I did genuinely think last weekend it was going to be so close between myself and Davidson if he was on the one-stop. But BAR just could not make it work. Oh, Michael Schumacher's day then, going from bad to worse here. Just been told over the radio that the German now has got car issues as well. So Ferrari, they really just have not been destined to win a world championship this year. But McLaren, though, still 1 and 2 up at the front of the order as we are trying to close in. Almost a sub 1 minute 40 lap time that lap. But yeah, we are setting some really, really good pace here at the moment, trying to close in. But yeah, both of them obviously definitely on a one-stop strategy as well. Kimi Räikkönen, though, he's built up a decent little buffer at the front. But Coulthard might have to come to his teammates' aid. We have had the call. We are going to be into the pit lane then at the end of this lap. But will either of the McLarens also be peeling in? Will they give Kimi Räikkönen, of course, the early pit stop? Or will they get DC in so he can maybe slow us down? No, it's going to be Räikkönen then into the pit lane. So this outlap is going to be critical to try and get the jump on Coulthard here. As nice and tidy on pit lane entry. As will we hold up Räikkönen? No, not a chance. Kimi just with a bit too much of a lead for the flying Finn at the moment. But as we make our way then out of the pit box, I mean, we're not going to be too far behind him either. Luckily, I don't think either of us are going to have to deal with much traffic. Because, yeah, so far the race has remained fairly stable. Nope, we're going to have Juan Pablo Montoya to deal with. So, yeah, we need to try and get some temperature in this rather nice and quickly there. It's all very, very slidey through turn 1 and turn 2. Luckily, coming out ahead of Zob Baumgartner. But I'm hoping JPM doesn't hold me up too much. Well, as we mentioned before, Williams this season, it really has been a tale of what could have been many weekends where they have looked quick, but yeah, really have not converted that many races. And ultimately, I think 5th place in the Constructors, whoever finishes 5th this season, probably isn't really going to deserve it, because all of your 5 big teams have built such good machines in their own way. I mean, nobody else has ever got close over the course of this campaign. To the inside, though, of Juan Pablo Montoya. A big diving maneuver there. So we just get a little bit caught out on the curbing. But luckily, we're able to get the power down off the exit of the corner. But Raikkonen just building up a little bit more of the lead at the moment. So that gap now almost 6 seconds once again. David Coulthard into the pit lane as well. Juan Pablo Montoya will join him. So it wasn't going to be the end of the world if we couldn't get past JPM there. Will we still be ahead of DC though? I'm hoping we will be. As out of the pit lane then comes the Scotsman. We're still wheel to wheel with him. We'll try and do the old up and under though. And yeah, Coulthard, cold tires, nothing he can do. We will end McLaren's 1-2. There we go, 12 laps to go. New fastest lap of the day once again. And finally getting under the 1 minute 40 barrier as well. So we are going about 6/10 a lap faster than Kimi at the moment. But with 10 laps to go and a gap of, what, 5 seconds, if we do get to him, it is going to be in the final few laps here. We are not going to have much time to try and get around him. And yeah, I mean, I honestly did wonder whether qualifying, obviously where I just simmed it to make sure we started at the back of the field, I really did wonder whether McLaren's pace was real. They've got and proven today that they are definitely here to fight. Maybe a little bit too little too late. But it should help them cement fourth in the Constructors. Less than 10 laps to go then, and this is hopefully yet another new fastest lap of the day. A huge improvement again there, down to a 139.2. But I remember when McLaren brought that upgrade back at Barcelona, and obviously they immediately dominated the race. I think we kind of expected them to bring themselves back into the fight a lot more this season. But clearly, that car just kind of suits the lower speed, long flowing corners that obviously fill the Barcelona circuit and are fairly common as well here. So we've lost, I believe, that's a Benetton from the Grand Prix, a Renault, sorry, I should say. Don't know if that's Button, I think that is Genet. And there we go, confirmation then. It is, sorry, Wirtz even. I always get Wirtz and Genet muddled up and it annoys myself to no end. But yeah, Wirtz then, first retirement of the afternoon. The gap to Kimi Raikkonen floating now. 3 seconds, but it's this final sector where we are really, really quick. 6 laps to go then of this race, and Kimi Raikkonen, that gap is closing down more and more. Each and every lap there, we just set another new fastest lap of the day. And so far, Sector 1, we went purple again then. So we are finding more and more time as the fuel burns off. This Toyota getting quicker and quicker here late on. And now we're both going to have to start contending with some lapped cars as well. So a huge kick from the back end there as we try to get the power down out of the kind of, well, it's one of the slower speed corners of this lap. But how will that Jordan react? Obviously the two race leaders, of course, obviously we started behind that Jordan. Battled Mika Salo very, very early on in the day. But he is going to jump out the way of his countryman as a 38.8 new fastest lap of the day we will go. Let's not forget though, Raikkonen, he is still improving quite rapidly as well at this stage of the afternoon as Mika Salo. Now, will he help his flying Finn? What? What? What is Salo doing? He just parked on the racing line through the exit of the corner, and suddenly now, well, we're going to have to try and limp this car home because I don't think it's worth trying to make a pit stop with 5 laps to go here, but I thought the last of first was on. Salo clearly had other ideas, just brake checked me. Luckily the front wing damage, I mean, it doesn't feel good, but it doesn't feel awful either. We're only going to be losing probably half a second to a second a lap, but when you factor in the advantage we had, hopefully it's going to mean that at the very worst we finish P3 here behind those 2 McLaren cars, but not happy with Mika Salo there. I mean, you got to make it at least predictable what you're trying to do, buddy. And yeah, just sat on the exit of the corner, right on the racing line there, and just parked the brakes. I think if we were to pit, we'd come out a long way behind Michael and Fernando Alonso here. So, like I said, even if DC gets me, we'll still hopefully outscore all of the drivers and teams that I need to. Basically, Ferrari and BAR. Another one then later on in the day, that is Marc Genet. There we go. So I was right about Genet retiring, just many, many laps early with it. But 4 laps remaining then of this race. Yeah, we're losing 2, maybe 3 seconds a lap now, I think. But yeah, Fernando Alonso 13 seconds behind. We should be good from him. I mean, surely we can't actually try and hold up David Coulthard. I tried to do that, not with damage admittedly, but tried to obviously keep Baumgartner at bay, didn't I? Out of Monza a couple of races ago. And there, trying to defend from him, I ended up losing the wing. Because again, a lapped car move around in front of me. So here we go. There goes Fernando Alonso. Sorry, that's Kimi Räikkönen even. Coulthard even. Third time's the charm, Matt. Up into P2 then of this race once more. And well, I'm sure Ron Dennis will definitely be smiling over at McLaren, watching his man overtake us once again. Yeah, definitely not going to be close enough to try and have a look for anything on DC down towards these final few corners. It's disappointing, but it looks like it's going to be yet another third place for us. Well, if we now lose the Constructors' Championship by less than 10 points, whether that be to Ferrari or to BAR, I am going to be blaming Mika Salo there, because that's so many points I feel like he has cost me this afternoon. Of course, what would be even worse now is if McLaren somehow beat us, because effectively we've lost out on 20 points to them, thanks to that front wing damage here. But I remember back at the end of last season, of course last year's fight between Ferrari and Williams throughout most of the campaign, and then Räikkönen took a surprise victory out in Sao Paulo just that weekend. The McLaren car really did come alive, and it was a fantastic day for him and the team. I remember saying there that, you know, McLaren certainly have made their mark, could be a threat for 2004, and similar to kind of what we saw IRL. Obviously, 2003, McLaren got a few victories, were in the fight. 2004, they just weren't, and it took far too long for them to start winning races. Of course, I believe the first win of the year was Belgium, again, courtesy of Kimi Räikkönen. They did win a race earlier on this season. This series has certainly had very few parallels with the real 2004 campaign. But in towards the final few corners, though, Kimi Räikkönen, it is going to be a second win of the year. Gutted for David Coulthard, because he is yet again going to have to wait another day. Through the final corner, Kimi Räikkönen will claim victory here at the US Grand Prix, just like he did in 2018. Yes, I can see the future. David Coulthard, though, will make it a McLaren 1-2, but we will come through for yet another podium, P3. I can't lie, though, from the back of the field, I wanted more.
Fantastic drive, and it means your driver's world champion. What a result. Enjoy it.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. They take the checkered flag here in Austin after what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
There we are then. Kimi Räikkönen, a 1-2 for McLaren on the grid, converted to a 1-2 come the checkered flag. And, well, although I feel like we could have stopped it, nobody else seemed to be able to come close today. Fernando Alonso ahead of Michael and Ralf Schumacher. Anthony Davidson just ahead of Fisichella and Montoya there, with Zolt Baumgartner rounding out the top 10. BAR, for how good they've looked recently, this has been a real fall from grace this weekend, but as we've seen, they are solely focused on the high-speed circuits this year. A few DNFs, though, a little bit further down the order. Obviously, Alex Wurz and Marc Genet both failing to see the checkered flag, but what does that do to our championship standings there? Ferrari! Sorry, no, that's the driver's table. Obviously, we know we've wrapped that up already. 55 clear of Michael Schumacher. Ralf is going to need a bit of a miracle heading into that season finale. Anthony Davidson ahead of Zolt Baumgartner still, as Räikkönen will jump Juan Pablo Montoya, and is now only 5 points behind his teammate. Yeah, Fisichella, he's guaranteed 10th now. Nothing can change for him. And of course, yeah, taking a look at the constructors, though, Ferrari have done it. Obviously, even if we bagged the extra 10 points, they still would have had the margin come the end of the GP there. But 3 points in it between ourselves and BAR as we head to Brazil next weekend. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit gutted we're not going to win the Constructors, but I think it's safe to say we can only blame Fisichella for that. Too many weekends this year where he was completely anomalous. McLaren, though, that 1-2 coming at a perfect time, gives them a 15-point buffer ahead of Williams as we head to the season finale there as well. So lots to be decided as we head into that final race. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the season finale out in Sao Paulo.